What is up, everybody? NC.
JC and
We got to talk about something that I think is affecting a lot of companies right now. And I believe that marketability in wrestling matters. I firmly believe it's something that matters, and it's causing a lot of viewers to tune out. You don't believe us when we say that, what a casual viewer sees on their TV, what most viewers see on their TV truly matters. No, don't body shame. Don't body shame. I'm sorry. But like even Cody has said, pro wrestling is a very cosmetic form of entertainment. We're going to judge on what we see as the
well,
viewers and as consumers.
and see, you're so right about that because this is not our opinion. If it was just one person's opinion or two people's opinion or a few people's opinion, that would be one thing. But when the numbers back it up, when the viewership, the Nielsen numbers back up everything that you're talking about with the lack of marketability in wrestling, it shows just how much marketability mattered. We look at Hulkamania, we look at Hulk Hogan, we look at Stone Cold, we look at The Rock, we look at Undertaker, Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man, all these people, John Cena. These are marketable people. What we have now in the wrestling business are a lot of people that are maybe good in the ring, but they're not marketable. They're very niche, and that's ultimately the problem that I think my brother and I agree on, is that there's just a lack of marketability because of the wrestlers that are in the business now.
They're cosplayers. Let's
They
be
are.
real. And you know what? You were bringing up ratings. Let's go ahead and bring up ratings as our backup. So let's take a look at Dynamite. So right here, I got a 2 month right out of Dynamite. So let's start out with, what is it, March 18th, 730,000. Very good. And then they go to their highest rated Dynamite ever. Highest rated Dynamite in the next week. And from there, they get 730. And then drop down to 654. Then get a bump to 710 because of Dynasty. And then 617, 596, 590, and 585. So you see this constant drop down on AEW ever since they had that literal crash TV. Ever since they had more sexuality on their show. Ever since they pretty much had, I hate to say it, MJF as their champion. And ever since the change in the show, going back to a work rate show, this is what we see. We see a constant downtune of the viewership on their main flagship show that had their highest record viewership since 2024. How could they mess that up when they have graphic data proof? They have data proof of what is good and what is not. How can they mess it up?
Because they listen to the marks. They don't care about the marketability of the show. They don't care about growing the audience. They don't care. Tony Khan doesn't care about that. He's proven to us time after time after time. He hit, in my opinion, lightning in a bottle with that March 18th episode. Because what it was, if you go back and you watch that episode, it was Crash TV. There was multiple segments happening. The matches were like 10 minutes at most. Or the main event was 12 minutes, but at least you had like Edge coming back. You had returns, car crashes, a lot of things happening, and just a much faster paced show. And voila, you have a massive bump in the viewership, over 700,000. And then ever since they went away from that and they went back to, because like right soon after, they went right back to their mark match bullshit. And what was propping up the rating the next week was Chris Jericho coming back on TV. So that propped it up. Or no, sorry, it was the Kenny Omega MGF thing that popped it up, and then it dipped for a little bit, and then it went back up with Chris Jericho being back on TV, and it's just been bleeding ever since. And this is the problem, man. It's like when you cater to the niche matchmark audience that does not care about marketability, they just care about work rate and claiming that they're a real wrestling fan online. This is what you get. This is what happens to the viewership. Like this is this is why if people wonder why we hate the match marks and we hate these long boring matches, because this is what it does to wrestling shows that have a lot of potential. Is it does this. It does what you're seeing on the screen right now. It bleeds viewership.
Well, in these long matches, they bleed people out and they bore them and they make them turn the channel every single time. Especially when you have champions like this, like Darby Allin. Darby Allin, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter that he's had 5 title defenses in 4 weeks.
No.
Less people are watching each and every single time because it's Darby Allin. I'm sorry. I know he does great stuff in the ring. He's a daredevil. That's good and all, but it's not good enough to be world champion. And you're noticing the huge change in viewership ever since they took the title off of MJF and put it on Darby. No disrespect towards Darby, but I'm sorry. The experiment isn't working.
No.
And a lot of it has to deal with the appearance. When you see a title that's bigger than the wrestler himself, people are going to tune out.
Well, and this isn't us just talking shit about Darby Allin just to talk shit or put him down necessarily for the way he looks. What it's saying is that, you know, the numbers don't lie. Like that's what it is, that the numbers don't lie, and clearly there's a lack of interest with Darby Allin as the world champion. Whatever you want to say, good, bad, or differently about him, there's a lack of interest. The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the viewership numbers. You know, you could say, oh, it's a fake number and it doesn't matter. Well, no. Well, those numbers matter a lot, and literally decide how companies are gonna spend their ad dollars. Like these are very important numbers. So it's not to put him down. We've said good things about Darby Allin in the past. You know, there's potential with this guy, but the way they're doing it, I would just ask, like, what is the storyline? Like, having him defend his title against random people every fucking week is not a storyline. It's not interesting. Like, a storyline would be like he faces an obstacle caused by MJF, and then MJF and him have like a match at like Double or Nothing. Like, where's the obstacle? Where's the storyline? And I would just say that there is none.
Well, his whole storyline is he's a fighting champion. That's what matters to Tony, is having
Boring.
a fighting champion. That's what Tony wants. And that's why he's pushing a guy like Kevin Knight towards the championship, which is not a good choice. The guy is not good on the microphone. He is not even that good in ring. Let's be honest. He botches all the time, and he's very unsafe. I don't think he's a good wrestler. I think in a lot of ways he's almost like a black Seth Rollins. He's not that good. And that's nothing against him. Maybe he'll be good in time, but in my opinion, he's way too green. He should have gone to ROH, gone to NXT, some sort of developmental, or even TNA for that matter, to build himself up, because he's not ready for the push they're giving him.
He's not ready. Like the crazy thing is, we're talking about marketability. They have Bobby Lashley in their company with MVP as his mouthpiece, as his manager, and they're going with speed. Like, literally, they're going to have Speedball Mike Bailey taking on Darby Allin.
Because Tony didn't make him. It's as simple as that. He's a WWE guy. And at least with Tony, he's like, I made this drummer. I made this guy. It's like, okay, you made him, but he's nothing. It's like Triple H making Gunther. He's nothing. What does it matter?
Well, yeah, and like Dean, like John Moxley was like there since the beginning of the company. So like,
and
like
a different identity too, you know?
Yeah.
So,
a totally different identity. And like Tony Storm was like really like a mid-card nobody when she came in. Tony
different
Khan,
identity too.
Different identity. Good point. That's a very good point. Is that like Tony Khan repackaged them and like made them his own. But this just goes to show, like, it's not just an AEW. It's all across. But like, we're focusing on AEW because for this part is because there's so much potential with AEW. If they just got their shit together and booked the right people and cared about marketability and cared about appealing to casual fans, this, like, the ratings wouldn't be an issue. In fact, they'd probably be beating SmackDown.
Well, but no, they want to push guys like this, Speedball Mike Bailey, and give him ample mic time for whatever reason. I don't know why you would want to take your worst mic worker and have him work on the mic every single Dynamite and then call out the world champion. What has Speedball Mike Bailey done to deserve a world title shot?
Nothing other than he's a great wrestler. He's put time in the bit. Who cares? At the end of the day, who cares? If Speedball Mike Bailey is your world champion, if you think 585,000 is bad viewership, oh my god, they're gonna be like 389,000. And by the way, the ARF dash panel survey thing that like said that basically there's more people watching, which bumped up the number for pro wrestling and AEW especially, like that is still in effect. Like that has not been changed. Like, so you got to keep in mind is that like this is with a boost, like an artificial, or some people could argue that, but it's basically there's like a boost in the viewership going on from the way that the Nielsen factors in the ratings, and this is what they're pulling in.
Well, it's just pathetic. I mean, especially if you do consider that bump, but it doesn't help that these guys are constantly pushed. Right. Every time I tune into Dynamite, I have to see the Young Bucks in a 20 to 25 minute match, sometimes 30. It's insane. It sucks. They aren't good wrestlers, let's be honest. They don't have good psychology. They're very weak looking. And I would assume a lot of people tune in and see these guys and they're like, how are these guys featured so much? They look like enhancement talent. And they won't even take themselves seriously. This is what really bugs me. They won't even try to lift weights or do juice or anything. They're just like, we're weak and pathetic. Deal with it. Fuck it. We're EVPs. What are you going to do? You know?
It's so goofy. It's so hard to take them seriously. Just look at them. Like, these are the AEW tag team champions in this picture. How can you take this seriously?
Indie rep. That's about it, man. Like when you really look at it, like if you ask a regular dude who the fuck these guys are, they'll say, "Man, those are some geeky looking fans." They won't even think the wrestlers.
I know, because they look like they look like the fans. They look like the marks. Like literally, if you put them in street clothes and put them in a wrestling convention, they'd blend in.
Well, and that's the big thing about Tony is he loves pushing midgets. It has not changed. We just watched Dynamite just for confirmation. We're like, how bad has it become? It's become really, really bad. It is pretty much vanilla midget showcase every time, and it has not changed. It doesn't help. This is another guy that they're shoving down your throat, our throats, and have not stopped with Orange Cassidy. Still won't do a push-up. Still has his hands in his pockets, and is still doing some of the silliest wrestling you've ever seen. I don't get it.
Well, the thing with the two, like, I get the whole comedy aspect. I get it. But if that's how you got your one note, and that's what he is. He's just one note. He's a comedy goofball that does a bunch of kip ups with his hands in his pockets. Who cares? Like, this is the thing. Like, this is what we're harping away at with AEW here in specific. It's just the potential, man. There's potential with AEW. AEW does not have to be like this. We literally saw them putting on great shows back in March, and the viewership was over 700,000. It was growing. Then they went right back to their match mark shit. They put the world title on Darby Allin, and look where we are now.
Well, the problem about Orange Cassidy is that the joke ran thin very quickly.
Right.
It doesn't have any sort of versatility, like at least with Danhausen, I can see them. They can work that a little bit before they run the wheels off of it. Orange, they already ran the wheels off of it. They're going on the rims right now. It's grinding on the asphalt. And yet we still got this dude pushed down our throats. I don't want to see this guy because he adds nothing to the product. He's not a great mic worker, so you're not going to get any dope promos out of him. He's not a fantastic wrestler, so you're not going to get any good matches out of him. All you get is, oh, Tony's popping backstage for 25 minutes. Yay, good. All right.
Like, to me, he's irrelevant. Like, if you take it, if you kick him out of Dynamite, you take him out of Dynamite, what are you losing?
Isn't he like in his mid-40s too? It's like,
right.
What's the point? Like, he's still got a teenager body. What's the point?
That's the thing, is like, it's like he adds really nothing to the product. Now, like, do I hate him? No, I don't hate him. I don't even dislike him. I quite frankly, I don't even care about him. Like, I don't care to hate him or like him or do any of that. This is what happens when you don't care about marketability. Like, this is what happens. You get guys like Orange Cassidy getting heavily featured. You get the Young Bucks as your world champions and as your EVPs, which add nothing to the product other than like constant audio and production botches. You know, like what is Tony Khan getting out of this other than making the sickos happy? But even then, I would ask, like, wouldn't the sickos be a lot happier if they were seeing Dynamite beating SmackDown in the ratings? Like, wouldn't that make them happy?
These are the same people that say ratings don't matter when they're losing and then say suck at NXT when they're winning. So,
right.
Just saying.
Right. If ratings don't matter, you got to be consistent on that. So it's like when AEW was getting over 1 million, there are fans out there saying, what now? AEW got 1 million, right? And then when it went under, you had nothing to say. But and that's the thing, man. It's like if you're going to go with that ratings don't matter, you got to go with it. It can't be a double standard, right? We got to be fair here. We got to call these companies out. We got to be equal opportunity, guys that hold everyone to account. That's what we got to. We got to hold these companies to account, and we got to demand more. And I think that's what ultimately is the problem here, is that what's left of the fan base is just not demanding more. They're happy with a show of nothing but wrestling matches and no promos and no segment. Bell to bell wrestling, they're happy.
Well, that's the problem, is they listen too much to the fans. And that's why we've always said that you need to stop listening to the fans so much. And it's even led to a lot of downtune over with SmackDown, the big flagship
Not just
brand.
AEW.
So it's everywhere. Yeah, we got a lot of companies to cover here. So, as you can see, starts in March 13th, 1.4. And then they go to 1.439, 1.308, 1.508, which is barely anything, 1.412, 15580, 1.267, 1153 yeesh, and then 1.279. So as you're seeing, not a lot of growth here. You're not seeing anything really substantial. The most substantial stuff you saw was back when Drew McIntyre was champion. As soon as Cody beat him for the title, it's been a black cloud over SmackDown, and it's not getting any better. with all the goofball shit that they keep on doing. There's always these comedy segments, which we don't really have too much of a problem with, but you have to understand that they're going to turn away your wrestling is ball fans. You know, all these fans that confuse basketball with pro wrestling, you're going to tune them out because they want their serious, fake, bad psychology wrestling for 25 minutes. When you don't give them that, they're going to be like, what the hell is this? What is this goofball show? I don't want to see the Miz and Danhausen comedy sketches. I don't want to see the gingerbread man. You know, they don't want to see this shit. Now, granted, I will say it was a valiant attempt at SmackDown to try to bring in casual viewers. The experiment failed because this is all you have left. If you had a bigger crowd on Fox, maybe. But here you are doing these casual viewer experiments when your ratings are lower than ever. You should have done it back when you had the fan base.
Right. Before they tuned out. Well, and that's the thing, too. It's like when you look at the last two ratings, May 1st and May 8th, like you got to keep in mind, as we just mentioned with AEW, it's across the board. Is that Dash survey thing that's bumping up the ratings about 20%, roughly 20 to 30%. So back when SmackDown was getting like 900,000, that was before Dash, right? Now Dash is in effect, and they're getting 1.1 million, like less than 1.3 million. That just goes to show just how weak SmackDown is now. And look at who they're pushing. Look at who they've been pushing for the longest time. Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, every fucking week on your TV.
Well, that's the thing with Cody, is that Cody, even back then when you were talking about 900K on SmackDown, he was at the top of the card.
Yep.
This man, both these men actually, but first we'll start out with Cody. The thing about Cody is that he has been so unbelievably detrimental to SmackDown because he refuses to put anybody over. He refuses to make a star. He refuses to try to make anybody look good. And even then, as this quote-unquote babyface, he's doing heel stuff like cheating during matches, using weapons, just going to lengths that a babyface shouldn't have to go. And then he feels the need to rub in the fans' faces. Oh, I don't make a with. I'm always there for my fans. Anything to make you look like you care. Anything to make you look like you're this fake John Cena ripoff. You never will be John Cena, Cody Rhodes. And that's the whole thing, too, is the fan base that even used to be behind Cody are not there anymore. They're tuning out. They don't care. They don't want to be there for Cody because he adds nothing to the program as champion. He's literally just douchebag in a suit. If that's the case, I'd rather have Miz in a spot. At least you would have somebody who's a better actor, a better promo, and just altogether just more entertaining.
Right.
Miz is so much better than Cody Rhodes. Get Cody Rhodes out of here. Throw him over to TNA. Have Miz as the Cody Rhodes replacement. He would do so much better.
He would, but I would just say, look at what's on your screen right now. Look at these two men. Compare them against the Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan back in the 80s. Compare it to Austin Rock of the Undertaker, Kane of the 90s. Compare them to John Cena. Compare them to shit, even Sheamus or Drew McIntyre. Look at these two guys and look at the ratings.
Well,
it's not a figment of your imagination.
Well, that's the whole thing too. Is it's like it's not necessarily a physical thing. Like even guys like Danhausen have proven you don't have to be a big guy to get the crowd's attention and to sell T-shirts.
But what it is with Danhausen is he's a larger than life cartoon character. He's
that's
a cartoon
what I'm trying
character.
to say.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say. Is it does not matter strictly about physical if that's what you think we're talking about. No. Danhausen is proof that even though he's not our cup of tea, the guy can sell merch.
Because he's got this larger than life gimmick. Look at these two guys. Do they look larger than life to you? They just look like regular people.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like I've seen people that look like regular people that when they get on the mic, they can grab your attention. Like, for example, Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart back in the day look like fairly regular people, but they captured your attention with their aura and with their power. So let's go ahead and talk about this next guy right here who's just awful. Gunther. Oh, wow.
Jesus.
This is a real piece of garbage right here, folks. And the reason why Gunther is so bad is because he hasn't gotten any better on the mic. And he's a lot like a big German version of Cody Rhodes. They have sacrificed so many people to Gunther that it's done nothing for his career, to the point that he's now the sacrificial lamb to Cody Rhodes because they ran out of people. So much for you, Gunther. You had a great push, and now you're Cody's sacrificial lamb for the month.
And that's the thing is like it's all like just to maintain what star power there's left on the roster, they're having to feed stars to Cody Rhodes. They're having to like feed like stars to Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns to kind of somewhat pump them back up. But that's not how it works. Like that's the thing. It's like that's not how it works. How it works is you've got to get people on there that are captivating, that are entertaining. Like LA Knight, you've got marketable people on your roster right now that they've got on the roster right now that they're just doing nothing with.
It's all in Triple H's choices, and this is
Yeah.
one of his choices is Gunther. Gunther is one of his boys. Ever since Walter in NXT UK, he's been shoved down our throats, and then he came over to NXT, shoved down your throat, came over to the main roster on Raw, shoved down your throat. On SmackDown now, he's probably going to be shoved down your throat. I don't know. I'm not watching, but I can assume that's what the usual game plan is with Gunther, up until the point that he has to meet Cody Rhodes. And let's face it, if Triple H has to make a choice, he's going to go with Cody. For whatever reason, he loves Cody. Like, I don't get it, but he really loves Cody.
What I think, just in my opinion, what I think it is with Cody is I think they're looking at him like he's our John Cena. He's our good company guy, squeaky clean, white meat baby face. And so, yeah, they're going to feed Gunther to him. They're going to feed everybody to Cody. And it's not going to work as the proof is in the pudding. Like you've seen it not work. They fed him Roman Reigns. It didn't work. They fed him. They're about to feed him Gunther. It's not going to work. You've seen all the people they fed to Cody. It just doesn't. Drew McIntyre. Look what happened to him. Like feeding people to Cody Rhodes does not create new stars. It just does not work that way.
No, I never will. Same thing with Gunther. They're pretty much two peas in a pod. But this is another talent that I can tell a lot of female talent are going to be fed to. And why? That's the thing about Jordynne Grace is, like, if she got better on the mic, if she got herself a character, if she wasn't just muscle mommy, I could go ahead and I could give her props. But all I see this Ozempic Kenny Omega Joker and I can't cheer for this, man. I'm sorry.
I can't either. And that's the thing. It's like all these people that we're seeing right now, like it fits the title perfectly. It's like they're not marketable. They don't look like megastars. They just look like either roided up nobodies like Jordynne Grace or just stretched out turkey men like Gunther. Like they just look like regular people for the most part.
Well, she's short too. That's the thing is
Yeah.
It's not like she's like a Jade Cargill where she's like a tall woman and big. Jordynne Grace is so tiny. And it doesn't matter. You could stack up with muscles. It's like, yeah, maybe you're 2 inches taller than your husband, but it's like, that's not really a flex. It's like,
I mean, like stack her up against Jade Cargill, stack her up against Raquel Rodriguez, stack her up against like Charlotte Flair. They tower over Jordynne Grace. This is why, like we were even saying back in the day, like it's not going to work. It's not going to look good on TV when she's so much shorter than everybody else. You know, like.
well, especially when they bring up Michael Lockwood. When they bring
God.
up Michael Lockwood, you're going to see the drastic height difference. I'm just saying, there's so many big powerhouse chicks out there right now that if they show them on TV, they're going to make her look bad. Just saying.
Well, and see, just out of curiosity, like who do you think Triple H and just everybody there, who do you think that they're catering to with all that? Like, who are they marketing this product to?
They're marketing it to the fetishists, to the weirdest out there, the weird fans that like muscle mommies that want to get their balls stepped on for $200. Those are the fans that they're marketing to because they're all that's left. You got to understand that as wrestling shrinks with the fan base, that fan base gets more and more crazier, more and more perverted, more and more deviant, to the point that we just have these just fucking just godless heathen fucking slop bag for fans that we do nowadays, man. It's just getting worse and worse, and this is one of the people that they jerk off to because they have some sort of weird muscle mommy bodybuilder fetish. I don't get it. I never will get it. If you like it, more power to you, man. A hard woman is a good find, I guess, but not in my opinion.
No, not mine either. And it's like, and they have, and like, but because they have marketable women on their roster, and they've got some market, like Lola Vice is one of them. These are women that you could market to the masses, and you could get the masses to tune in.
Absolutely. And you know what? I would love to do a positive special one of these days where we show you the future of WWE.
Absolutely.
And just to show you that we're not all negative, but I got to show you the reasons why these brands are losing viewers. Another big reason, in my opinion, is MFT. MFT is so unbelievably boring. And the reason why it's so boring is it's bad enough Bloodline was already starting to lose a lot of its aura, starting to lose a lot of its power. It's starting to become retread, you know? We're already tired of Bloodline, and then you give us wannabe Bloodline with even less charisma. Like, you don't even get, like, rambling Jey Uso drunken promos. You don't get Jimmy being fucking straight hood gangsta. You don't get Roman being the smooth talking badass. You don't get any of that. You just get this dumpy fuck in a suit named Solo Sakamoa with 4 jobbers with painted faces. 2 of them are gone by now. Maybe another one on the way, who knows. But you get this ensemble of just boring jobbers with painted faces. Now, if you actually made them like a black metal band, like a Samoan black metal band, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'd be like, all right, let me see them like fucking fake play instruments and act like they're in a black metal band. Cool, whatever. But no, they're just literally just boring jobbers. Like, they're not even all like Samoan, they're Tongan, right? They're Tongan, and then one of them is Jeff Cobb, who's just a Mexican dude. So they're like, good enough.
Good enough. Well, and like as I'm looking at all this, right? You know, like there's no identity to like who they're marketing towards. It's like a little bit what they want, but it's like a little bit of what they think that young people. It's like a weird mishmash of things cobbled together that they think is going to appeal to the masses, when in reality it's mostly just appealing to the niche audience that, you know, it just is still interested in wrestling now. And like when you look back at like the Hulkamania era, that was catering to like young boys that were into like Marvel and superheroes back in the 80s, which were all the rage back then. The 90s with the Attitude Era, man, like the teenage frat boy audience, like chick showing their tits on TV, badass drinks beer and beats up his boss. It's like you know who the show was marketing towards. Who the fuck is SmackDown and Raw marketing towards now?
They're marketing towards edgy, geeky nerd kids that have nothing better to do but watch shitty ass SmackDowns. Huh? They love though having wrestlers that play ball, like Carmelo Hayes. Because hey, who doesn't tune in for an amazing Carmelo Hayes match? He does the same moves every match. Always says the same shit. Melo don't miss. Oh, but he plays ball. Not literally though, just, you know, metaphorically, like these pro wrestling fans say. So if you tune into SmackDown, you know ball because you must be a Carmelo Hayes fan. I don't get the appeal with this guy. And here's the thing. I'm going to be mean because this guy is boring and he has done nothing for the show. And they shove him down your throat like the Black Johnny Gargano. They pretty much figured, hey, we don't need Johnny Gargano. We got him.
That's a good point. And that's why you're seeing a lot less Johnny Gargano, because the Johnny Gargano role is being filled with Carmelo Hayes, who's younger, less injury prone, less banged up from the indies like Johnny is. Like, why would you? Yeah, it makes what you just said makes all the sense in the world of why they're going with this guy. But it's like, does this guy look marketable? Does this like scream superstar? Like, compare him to Trick Williams.
He looks like he'd be holding the baby oil at a Diddy party. Let's be real. Just saying.
He looks like the X Division, like the next X Division champion. He looks like he should be in TNA, not WWE.
I would wait. Like, I could totally see a picture of him and Leon Slater in a graphic for some stupid X Division match. Just saying.
Absolutely. No, same here, man. Because these are not superstars. There's a reason why people have tuned out. It's because when you just look at them, you're like, I'm not interested. They're not like, because it's like TV is visual and audio. It's like you got to hook me visually and with audio as well. So it's like it's why you need both. You need the great look and the great mic skills. Like, they go together, man. Like, you gotta look like a star. You gotta look your best, or at least try to look your best. You know, and there's a lot of women and men in the business that have upped their game, and they look like more stars than they used to. And good on them. And like that's what we're saying. It's like, just fucking try. Sami Zayn is not trying, nor do I think he has the ability to. You know, and it's a shame, man. Yeah.
Might as well talk about Sami since he's here. So yeah, Sami Zayn is awful at what he does. He's not a bad actor altogether, but in the ring, nobody wants to see him wrestle. Nobody wants to see him compete. He's really retread himself. And then he's trying to go for these promos with Johnny Gargano saying, oh, remember when all we had to do was fight forever, just bang up our bodies, and the fans loved us? That's not a good promo. That's not a good way to reminisce, and it's going to drive the viewers out. Just straight up. I mean, what they're going for with this fight forever work rate bullshit, you're going to tune out even more people. You don't understand that. It's like, stop doing what you're doing and try to do something casual friendly. And what I mean is with Sami, like, they've tried to do stuff with Sami before. He's a good mid-card hand. No more than that. You do not shove him in the main event. You do not have him go over more charismatic people. If you need somebody to put on a good, safe match, that's Sami. That's what he's there for. If you need somebody to put somebody over, there's Sammy. And that's how they should be looking at, honestly, any of these guys over 40 who have already held that top spot, who have already been at the top of the mountain, start putting over the younger talents. That's why I'll give Sammy credit. At the very least, he put over Trick Williams.
Yeah.
So I'll give him credit for that. But that's something that I would like to see Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, anybody who's been there for a while, you've already been at the top of the mountain and you won't retire, go ahead and start put over young talent. I think that's the way to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, start putting him over, and I'm like, not to rag too much on his looks, but it's that old saying, man. It's like the first impression is everything. If somebody who has not watched wrestling before tunes into SmackDown for the very first time and they see Sami Zayn as a wrestler on their TV, what do you think they're thinking in their head?
They're like, dude, they let bums wrestle in the ring now? What the hell?
Right. They're not going to take it seriously. And that's the problem, is that looking the part, passing the airport test, it wasn't just because Vince McMahon was an asshole. It was because Vince McMahon knew what worked. It literally was his livelihood. So he had to care about this stuff. And he had learned over time that, yeah, look matters. The look does matter. CM Punk may not care. I mean, but even look at CM Punk. Compare CM Punk when he was back in AEW to him now. CM Punk has massively bulked up. CM Punk was a twig in AEW. Now he's put on some muscle. So even CM Punk is like living proof of what we're talking about, is that marketability matters.
Well, he knew since he's getting the big contract and it's his last chance, he has to start doing the TRT, he has to get on that shit, so I get it. But yeah, looks really do matter, especially when it comes to somebody like Gingerbread Man. Now, I don't inherently have a problem with the Gingerbread Man idea. The execution left a lot to be desired, which is what happens with most Triple H ideas. So, instead of going for a good slapstick, they went for just this cheap, shitty SNL slapstick, and it drove a lot of viewers out, man. That's why they had to kill off the Ginger Man so quickly, is because it was driving a lot of viewers away. It was too goofy, especially for a show like SmackDown. You have to understand this about SmackDown. Most people tuning into SmackDown, they want to see their ball. They want to see their really long, boring fucking geek matches. That's what they tune in to see. So when they have their long, boring geek matches cut down to have some goofy segment with a guy in a fucking suit, what are they immediately going to think? They're going to think, I don't want to see this. I want to see some NXT black and gold bangers. I don't want to see this Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard shit. Turn this shit off.
Yeah, it's just the whole show to me. Well, and that whole Gingerbread Man thing, it worked for the first couple of weeks. They should have just left it after that. After WrestleMania, no more Gingerbread Man, because it served its purpose. What's the purpose of Gingerbread Man other than a goofy thing to have on the show to make the kids laugh?
It's pretty much a situation where Sammy just got to play the goof in a suit. Nope. He likes to dance. I get it. The guy's a good dancer. I'll give him. The guy's a good dancer. I'll give him credit for that. But
Sammy would probably be a good manager. If I had to repackage the guy, okay, you're not going to be a producer because you had nothing. You're definitely not going to be in creative because you've got no. You're thinking about it from the standpoint of a mark. You know what? Go out there and be just the goofball manager that gets the shit kicked out of him, and kind of like if Paul Heyman were taking bumps,
He's too serious of a wrestler to do that. He's one of the best in the world. But dude, he's got love handles and he looks like he collects change on the street. Let's be real.
He literally looks like a homeless person.
Just saying, I mean,
no, and it's not even just to shit on his appearance. I'm just saying he literally looks like a homeless person. If he were laying on the sidewalk without a shirt on, you would people walking by would think he's homeless. They wouldn't know. Oh, that's Sami Zayn. He makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a year with WWE.
Oh yeah, they would throw coins at him. That's just how it is. Oh, but so yeah, SmackDown is just it's gone down a really bad path. But so is NXT. So NXT March 17th had 588,000, and then they just balanced back and forth. They went from 588 up to 605 on April 7th. Went back down to 584, went to 591, went to 541, and then they had a big jump up to 641,000. You're probably wondering what that was all about. A lot of it had to do with the fact that they had a lot of turmoil going on in the women's division. Michael Lockwood was coming out of the crowd to fucking beat up some dudes, so that got people to be like, what the fuck is this shit? You had a promo from Evil, so people were probably looking forward to this guy, seeing what he could do. And then you had this guy, Mason Rook, debut, and a lot of people I think went and tuned back into that episode just to laugh at it. That's what I think a lot of that, what that viewership is that's their laugh votes, their
Oh yeah.
laugh views. A lot of people going back, especially with the CW app. You can go back and watch it one day after it goes live. I think a lot of that accounted for that viewership. I think people were just tuning in to see, the spectacle of it all, the car crash of it all. So a big thing that's causing a lot of people to tune out with NXT is who they have on that show. It's like they have so many dredges, and it's only gotten worse since they put a lot of those people on SmackDown and on Raw and on other shows. After WrestleMania, they got a lot of call-ups. They drained what little talent they had there, and now we're left with freaking Tony D'Angelo as the champion.
God.
This is a guy that, for all his time in NXT, must have been like 5 years now. It feels like 5 years. They finally put the title on him because he's the only one that couldn't get called up. So they're like, it's kind of like a participation award, like a sympathy belt. Like, we'll give you the belt because you'll put your time in, I guess. This is what they do.
They're so desperate for top male stars in that company that they're willing to bring in just about anybody. Like they really are, and like with Tony D'Angelo, look at the gimmick they've given this guy. Like I thought he was a mute, but no, he goes to cut a promo. It's still the old Tony D'Angelo accent. I'm like, what is going on here?
Well, that's a big issue. Is that Tony D'Angelo? He's not gotten any better. He's not doing a different gimmick. It's basically like he's just gone in a more emo goth route. He's still a gangster, but now he's an emo gangster. Grew his hair out long, doesn't have a gang with him anymore because they went over in different directions. One of them's in TNA. So it's like it's just Tony D'Angelo by himself. My whole thing is he's never been good enough to be by himself.
No.
He should have been part of a tag team or a stable.
Well, and like at the very least, but like let him keep his gimmick. Like he had a gimmick, the Italian Chicago Tony Soprano type gimmick. We'll let him keep it. He's got the name. He had the accent down pretty good. Let him stay with it, because right now he's looking like a cross between Killer Kross and Sami Zayn, isn't he? Look at him.
He's looking like Kross if he just got really fucking fat. Like if he just like stopped lifting and just started eating like a motherfucker and got depressed. So no, Kross still takes care of himself, and unfortunately Tony really doesn't. He's just always had this build, and yeah, there's not much you can do with him. They're just left with him. That's how it is. It's hard to say. Mason Cookie Jar. This dude. And that's the thing too. He's a great in-ring physical talent. I will give him that. But he's so green. Unbelievably green. And what do? You rush him right into the NXT main event because you have nobody to use. That to me, it screams desperation, but the big thing it screams to me is the booking committee is they obviously don't understand how to get over international talent, especially coming from Shawn Michaels. You should know with international talent, it doesn't matter where they're from. You got to get them acclimated to the fans. They're fucking unknowns. Your casual fan doesn't know who the fuck Mason Rook is. They don't know who Evil is. You have to acclimate them with promos, with vignettes, getting them to know who these people are, and having them come in immediately and dominate your top guy. This fat softball playing looking freak comes in and just dominates your top guy. This puddle of pudding dominates your top guy. It does not look good. And he's like, and if you know, now you know. That's not a way to get fans.
No.
It's going to tune them out. And like you saw, they laughed for that one episode, and then they're like, nah, we're not going to watch this fucking goofball show. Maybe Dave and Brian are right.
Maybe they're right about it, because like just again, if you're tuning in for the first time to NXT and you see this guy, like if you wanted to put, like if they put him in a tag team, that's one thing.
Why wouldn't you do that with him and Evil, man? I personally think you got two big fucking rotund dudes that are international quote unquote stars. They're not even really that big of a stars over in their areas. they're indie dudes. Bring them in with an indie mouthpiece and have that person talk for them, because neither him nor Evil are good workers. They're both good in ring, but when I consider a good worker, you have to have a character, you have to have a gimmick, you have to be able to talk on the mic, you have to be able to resonate with the fan base. At the very least, if you're an international talent, you have to have physical charisma. I don't get that from Mason Rook. I don't get that from Evil. With Evil, I just see some fat Japanese blonde-haired guy with shaved eyebrows. How is this gonna make me like want to tune in? What? Oh, so I get to see blonde-haired Shinsuke? Yay! We saw where that happened there,
Well, because at least with Shinsuke, the guy had like some physical charisma. Naraku has like no physical charisma. He's just some boring wrestler guy from Japan with long blonde hair. Big freaking whoop. Like that's the thing, man. It's like who are they? Who is this for? Who are they marketing to?
It's for the indie net nerds. That's what
Right.
it's for now. It's for all that's left. And if you book like Tony for all that's left, you will get less and less ratings every
Yep.
single time. And that's the thing too, is like when we're talking about marketability, a lot of it is physical, right? But you have to have charisma. And with a guy
True.
like Jackson Drake, I'm sorry, it just he has shown me in his time in Evolve and what I've seen in NXT, he doesn't have a whole lot of charisma. It's pretty
He
much
is,
what he
man.
is.
He is, and it's like maybe he's like got like a certain look for like the female audience, but there's nothing else there. Like I've seen this guy cut promos, I've seen this guy wrestle. There's literally nothing else other than this guy looks like a gay male model. Like that's the problem. It's like there's nothing there to this guy. There's nothing. There's like no engine underneath the hood. There's nothing.
It's NXT's cheap attempt at making their own clavicular, but
Yes.
you don't have the aura of clavicular, which isn't
No.
much. But you don't have that. You are so twink looking. And then you say you can beat the fans' ass. I'm sorry, dude. When you're next to Michael Lockwood
Oh God.
and this individual towers over you, I'm sorry, I can't take you seriously. Especially when you're picking that up at a bar and it's taking you home. You think that makes me look at the gay allegations any differently? No, I'm looking at you like a tan beard.
Well, and like the way he like in the whole like gimmick, he's like all like, "Oh wow!" Like he was all happy, not like I gotta go home with this chick. Pussy's pussy, I guess. It's but with this, like again, I ask, who is Michael Lockwood for?
Well, all I could get out of that promo that we covered on the news is that Jackson Drake must really like getting pegged by big buff things with fucking muscles and double chins. I don't know, man. I like, but when I look at Michael Lockwood, I don't see anything marketable. It's honestly
No.
if you took an uglier Jordan Grace and put her out there with less charisma. I know that's hard to imagine, but I hate to be cruel, but that's how it is.
Well, because like, if we're talking about like female wrestlers in the vein of like China, like the big roided up muscle chicks, but like the thing with China is that like China was unique. China was also a part of a faction too, which made the whole thing was like Degeneration X. They're outrageous, and so China fit into that. But at least China, but China in some ways, like especially after the whole like chin reduction thing, she had some sexual appeal, some marketability.
Oh yeah,
Michael Lockwood has none of that.
she looked like a woman by
Yeah.
the time she was done with pro wrestling. That's one thing I can give her credit. She really feminized a lot.
Yep.
And that's not to say that big buff chicks, can't be feminine. I would say differently. We grew up with people like, not the biggest, but people that were fitness freaks like Trish Stratus.
Mhm.
She had muscles, pretty. I would say with Michael Lockwood, what they're going for is they're going for like this big badass powerhouse. We've always recommended just put a mask on her.
Right.
That's going to be a good way to avoid a lot of the incoming hatred. You're already seeing in the viewership. But what that NXT viewership shows you, this is what happens when you put on a car wreck. People tune in for it. What
Right.
happens the week after? They tune out because they already know what fucking stupid shit to expect and they already got their fill.
Well, and then there's going to be a lot of people making the excuse of, oh, but what about the competition from the NBA playoffs? And Nancy, what would you say to that?
Dude, basketball fans do not watch wrestling, and wrestling fans do not watch basketball. They need to
Right.
come to that correlation. I don't care if they use these stupid basketball terms. Oh, ball. No, wrestling fans do not watch basketball. They are not the same competition. And the proof of that, really, back in the day was when we had the AEW Dynamite bleed off, and from the playoffs, I believe, too. Same time around there. And all these NBA fans were just roasting Chris Jericho, roasting ass-eating wrestling, as they called it. That's what regular basketball sports fans, by the way, think of AEW. And it's the same for WWE, as you're seeing with Sports Center. You go under Sports Center, and every time they do a wrestling piece on X or whatever, you go in the comments, YouTube, go in the comments, and it's just all these people saying, what the fuck is this goofy shit doing in my serious sports? They don't get it. It doesn't make sense to them.
It doesn't appeal to them. It's not marketed towards them. And that's the thing is that, like, if this product were actually marketing towards the masses, you would start seeing the ratings grow despite NBA playoffs. You would see it grow despite fucking the NFL playoffs. Because if it's genuinely appealing to a larger and larger audience, people are going to tune in because it's fucking appealing to them. Like,
Yeah.
it's not hard to understand.
No, it's right there, man. I mean, just especially with Dynamite, you have proof of what works and what doesn't, and they just won't go back to it. It's very frustrating. One more thing about NXT: this group has never done anything to get my attention.
No.
They are a complete waste of fucking space. This is what happens when you take the Shield and Retribution and mix them together, but make it even more boring. They're just guys with masks, no characters. All of them are boring promos. I've never seen a good promo out of any of them. They had this random fucking geeky white guy in with 3 black dudes, which makes no sense. One of the black dudes doesn't even know how to put on his t-shirt. I look at them like a retarded Shield. I'm sorry. I can't take them seriously.
And that's the thing, you can't take them seriously. That's another thing. It's like, why should you take them seriously? What have they done that is so devastating, so, just malicious and evil are going to cause people to go, whoa, I got to tune in to see them?
They did a gang beat down on the stupid deaf guy, Miles Bourne, who's another one that I don't have a picture of, but he definitely deserves to be on here as well. You don't put a deaf guy on the mic. You get him a fucking manager, you stupid assholes. I don't care if you're going for some sort of fucking tax write-off at the end of the year. Get him a fucking manager, you stupid assholes.
Because, again, who are you going to market Miles Bourne to? The deaf community? Nothing against the deaf community, nothing against the deaf community, but it's like, who the fuck are we marketing towards? It's like that's the problem. It's not a lack of, oh, we don't have wrestling talent out there. It's a lack of, you don't have marketable talent out there, and you're not scouting for marketable talent. You're scouting for in-ring ability. Well, look what that gets you.
NXT, I got an idea for you. Go ahead and bring in a wrestler in a wheelchair and give him a title. Let's be full ableist, mind you. Hey, a quadriplegic, they can hold the world title, can't they? Why not? You have a problem with quadriplegics? You don't think that they can hold the big one? What about Zach Gowen? He only had one leg. Fuck it. Bring back Zach Gowen at this point.
You know what? I would probably just, out of shits and giggles, I would tune in to see a fucking, paraplegic versus, Tony D'Angelo and seeing the paraplegic go over for the title. I'd have to watch that. That would just be so fucking goof-tarded. I'd have to fucking watch it. Because, this is how fucking silly it's getting with NXT, and you hit the nail on the head, NC. Just how they're going the whole DEI shit, and that's ultimately what the problem is. It's DEI. They're not finding the best and the brightest. When they were bringing in NIL and recruiting from there, who were they getting? Braun Breaker, Tiffany Stratton, Trick Williams, Obafemi. All those 4 people are stars on the main roster. One of them has been a fucking world champion, for the women.
No, that's why the thing, I would love to do a video where we show off the future stars of WWE, because we're not all salty, man. We're just showing you the shit right now that's really bringing WWE and all these other companies down. So that really covers it for NXT. So yeah, with TNA Impact here, as you can see, it started out pretty decently at 176, which is whatever, but then it started bumping up. By March, it got up to 250, and then it started going up and down with a high of 257. But then you saw the drop down from 257. You saw 212, 175, 209, and then 184, or was that 164? And the real reason why, in my opinion, why it started dropping down so much is because they lost a lot of the momentum that they had building up before the pay-per-view. They had a lot of surprises. What they were doing is they were doing what Triple H does when he doesn't have any good storylines, but he's got people to bring back. What they would do is they would bring back a nostalgia act every week or every other week, and they would use as part of this Rosemary alternate reality storyline, which was dumb. It didn't go anywhere. It sucked. And that was another ball drop, and that's another reason why people tuned out. But then after they got rid of all the storyline stuff, they pretty much left it in the dust. They started doing broken Matt Hardy, but not doing it the right way, fucking that up. They started going to so much match focus. That was the one big difference. Like when I told my brother, hey, you know what? I know TNA's been sucking for a while, but you got to go ahead and check out this TNA. What was it? The March 28th one? I think it was the March 28th one, right?
Yep.
I told him, hey, check out the March 28th one. It's picked up a lot. And what did they have? Great pacing on the matches. Interspliced with tons of segments. a storyline all throughout the night. Storyline in the background with what was going on with, Rosemary, the bunny, all these other characters being brought back. They were bringing back a lot of stars. EC3 was being hinted at that too. So there's a lot to be hopeful for with TNA. And I'm sure that was bringing up a lot of the viewers because people are like, who's going to show up next week? What star are they going to bring back from TNA? And especially since they were bringing in ODB, they were bringing in Taryn Terrell, a lot of nostalgia acts that we liked in TNA. They were bringing back, so we're like, okay, let's see where this goes. Unfortunately, it went nowhere. It was a whole bunch of cheap appearances, shitty acting segments, and a bad story, and it pretty much devolved to the last TNA that we reviewed, which was nothing but matches.
Mm-hmm.
It was center focused around Leon Slater versus the System, which is so bad. But you know what? Let's talk about these stars in TNA. Started off with Leon Slater. Leon I'm sorry, he doesn't do anything for the company. He's too skinny. He's not a good promo. He has a terrible gimmick. He does like copy paste fucking create a wrestler moves. Nothing I haven't seen before. Nothing innovative. They put so much stock behind this very young green kid. I know they're trying to make their own Javon Evans, but this dude ain't it. So,
No.
What do you think about him?
Well, what I think about him is, I think they're trying to build him into something, but I also think that his contract, because the way TNA does their contracts now, it's like a year-long contract. That's it. And so I think his contract is coming up. And so people who didn't watch or who don't know, he lost his title back on Thursday when they did their live episode. He had a 2 out of 3 falls match with Cedric Alexander. Cedric won the title. So what that tells me is that more than likely this boring fuck Leon Slater is going to be heading over to NXT which makes sense because they're desperate for talents that have in-ring experience. So you'll probably see Leon Slater in NXT within the next 5 to 6 months.
Either that or graduating him to the main event, which would be even worse.
God.
But both are really bad scenarios. But you mentioned Cedric Alexander. This guy has not gotten any better since his WWE days. He's still a boring jobber, still cuts very boring promos, very boring in the ring, doesn't do anything cool, just a slow old veteran. There's so many of these fuckers in TNA now. That's the thing. If you're going to put them in the main event, make sure they can fucking go. I'm sorry, Cedric. You can't go no more, man. I'm sorry.
He can't go anymore, and he's out of... I mean, look at the guy. He let himself go. I mean, this is the fattest I've ever seen Cedric Alexander. It looks bad on TV. He just looks like some old fat fuck that's having competitive work rate matches with Leon Slater. No one's buying that shit.
Well, and this is really bad. The fact that this guy is he's going to retire within a year or two, but in that retirement road from TNA, we're going to see this dumpy fucker shoved down our throats with his cotton ball mouth promos,
right? With
his just tub of lard body, with his stupid mohawk. This is what we have to... Eddie Edwards has done nothing to benefit pro wrestling. The last beneficial thing he did to pro wrestling was be a part of a tag team called the Wolves. And that was 15 years ago.
Right. Well, and the funny thing is you go back and you watch those promos that he had in the Wolves. He was more coherent. He was better on the mic then. It's like he's degraded in every way. Physically, just promo-wise, he's degraded. Just in every way as a wrestler, he's degraded. He's just not... He just doesn't care. He doesn't care about being marketable. He doesn't care about, looking like a star or upping his game because he's in TNA and he's happy with that. Well, that's not good enough, man. I'm sorry.
Well, that's a common focus we're seeing throughout all these companies is that physical fitness does not matter. You could be fat as shit and be in the main event. Look at Sami Zayn. Look at fucking Eddie Edwards. Look at Cedric Alexander. It doesn't matter anymore. It's and that's really sad that these promoters aren't I don't expect them to fat shame them, but at the least I would expect them to be like, hey man, I can get you a gym pass. It's $10 a month. I can hook you up, just, it's not that expensive to go to fucking Planet Fitness. They're everywhere around the United States. I don't get it, man. But it just, I would think that would be a nice gift for Christmas is to give your fat out of shape wrestlers gym passes. Fuck it.
It'd be funny if he gets a video. He's like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck? Are you saying I'm fat? Yeah, we're saying you're fat, Eddie Edwards. Yeah.
I'd be like, dude, I could have given you a year of Golden Corral and made you even fatter and you would have been diabetic and had to cut off your foot. or I could give you a year of a gym pass and you get the best shape of your life. The choice is yours.
The choice is yours. What you gonna pick? I mean, now if I were you, I would pick the gym pass because you get to work on yourself. You look better, you feel better. But now apparently he's happy being a lard ass with no charisma in TNA. Congratulations, Eddie Edwards. Way to shoot for the stars there, pal.
Yeah, this is what we got left of the TNA main event. It's very, very sad. It's a lot like NXT where there's just barely anybody left. That's pretty much how it's become.
It seems to me is that they've just conceded. Like, you know what? The only people that are going to watch this are the match marks. So let's just put on a bunch of matches. Like, what do we need? They don't care about matches. They'll whine about and say we want storylines on social media, but in reality, they want to see matches. They want to see the same matches that they've seen 1,000 times before. That's it. And so that's why Hunter Johnson's booking what he's booking. That's why Shawn Michaels is booking what he's booking. Quite frankly, it's why Triple H is booking what he's booking on the main roster. Tony Khan, it's why he's booking what he's booking. They've all conceded that real wrestling fans want to see nothing but matches. Okay, well then don't be surprised when the ratings fucking dive by. At some point, you've got to make the decision to market your show to a larger audience.
Oh, absolutely. What doesn't help too that they keep on pushing these nostalgia acts. So they got Eric Young, who won a battle royale, not a fresh young talent, by the way, not going to do anything to put over any young talents. You got Eric Young winning a battle royale to win a title shot. So this is another nostalgia act that they just have kept around for a long time, and not a good in shape nostalgia act like EC3, who has some fresh fanfare behind him. We haven't seen him in TNA in the longest time. It's a good way for him to rebuild his career. In fact, I would have had somebody like EC3 probably win that battle royale, because you need fresh young blood, or you need fresh blood at the top. He's not the youngest dude, but he's still in better shape than Eric Young, a better talker than Eric Young, more main event level than Eric Young. It's a good TNA revival. With Eric Young, how many times have we seen him in the mid card? How many TNA impacts have we tuned into and seen this raspy voiced homeless war vet do shitty segments? Literally every impact.
Well, and then it doesn't help when he comes out to the ring in that stupid hooded robe thing that he wears. It's like there's no awareness of, wow, you need to take this guy seriously, or from him, because he just goes out there looking like a goofball, and then he wonders why nobody cares. He's been a mid-carder almost his entire career in TNA, and they've just done nothing with him, and he doesn't care. It's almost feels like everybody in TNA, with the exception of a few, have just checked out.
It's a matter of pushing what's left. That's what they're doing. Yeah. They're pushing all the people that are TNA lifers. So that's why, you're going to, when you tune in, you're going to see Eddie Edwards at the top, Cedric Alexander, Eric Young, Moose, the Mike Santana. They know that these guys aren't going anywhere. Mike might go to WWE when his contract runs up, but for the most part, they're behind guys who they know aren't going anywhere. Frankie Kazarian, they're behind these guys because they know they're going to be TNA lifers.
And see, that's a really good point too, because and that's the thing that a lot of fans of TNA are complaining about, is that it's like you just get this great talent and then they just leave and go because the contract was short that they had. So it's like, I get why they're listening. They may be listening to that and then say, okay, well, we're going to book the people who we know for a fact are going to resign with TNA. Eric Young is one of them. Eddie Edwards is probably one of them. Alicia Edwards is probably another one of them. Brian Myers and Cedric Alexander are probably more of those talents who would do that. And there's probably a few others as well. So I understand what they're doing here, but the problem with it is that you can't take somebody who you've made a mid-card joke for years and years and years and then just all of a sudden bump them up to the main event. It doesn't work like that.
WWE tries to do that and it doesn't work. It doesn't work in TNA, doesn't work in AEW. It's and they're never going to have a career resurgence, because that's the thing about Eric Young is it's not like he's getting better on the mic or he's getting in better shape. He's just getting older. And that's how they have to look at it. Like a guy like Eric Young, he should be using his veteran experience to put over younger talents. I liked what they were doing with this angle with BDE, where at least he was trying to put over younger talents. That's perfect for Eric Young. That's what he should be doing. But no, it's you see the same people every single fucking time on Impact. And another two people who I'm tired of seeing are Vinny and Dutch. I am so sick and tired of seeing Vinny and Dutch versus the fucking Hardy Boys. And I've seen them in 12 fucking tag team matches, and they're always fighting the Hardy Boys. There's other tag teams in TNA, right? You don't need to have the same rematch over and over, right?
Well, absolutely, and at least give them a storyline. Have the because like back in 2016 TNA, they would have been doing shit outside the ring, man. They would have had their hippie van. They would have like had the Hardys kidnapped in there, and like who knows what like crazy shit they would have done back in the day. Like there's so much more that they could be doing with this. But like again, I ask, where are the storylines in TNA? Like that's another thing that's hurting this company as well. Is that it's bad enough that your wrestlers that you're trying to build up are just washed up old veterans that are out of shape. Now you also don't have storylines for them as well, and so what you get is a show that's just dying in the ratings. No wonder.
And what they were going with here is they were going for like this crazy cult,
Yeah.
but it's so PG and goofy, and they're so afraid to pull the trigger on it that you get this just slop version of what could be. And you're absolutely right. They could be doing kidnappings. You can involve the broken universe in this and get them over there, and I'm sure they would gel well with that. The problem isn't the talent. Vinny and Dutch, they have ability. The problem is they're being used only in fucking tag matches and not in promo segments, vignettes. They're being overused for the wrong reason. And that always has driven me nuts. When I know a talent is good on the mic, when I know they're a good actor, when I know that they could probably benefit story-wise, and you just use them for matches. We had to see that all the time in NXT with Scarlett Bordeaux and Karrion Kross. It was so infuriating.
It was infuriating. It was frustrating because that they're better than that. Like I'm looking at Vinny and Dutch, I'm thinking to myself, okay, they're better than just putting them in tag team matches. Like give them a cult, give them cult followers, build that concept. Like, and then that's the problem too. Is that like with Hunter Johnson, he doesn't know where to go with it other than put him in a match and let him wrestle. Like Hunter Johnson is like a much less successful Triple H. They book the same. They're the same people. When it comes to booking shows, they book exactly the same. They don't know where to go with these larger than life concepts. So it's just put him in a ring, let him wrestle. I don't know, fuck it. I didn't get over. Cut him, fire him. I don't care.
Well, that's my main problem with Triple H is that he expects for something that gets over with the internet to get over with casuals, and that's how all these promoters are. They pretty much figure, you know what, fuck a casual. I'm gonna go ahead and book what I want to book for the internet, so I can get their likes. That's what it is. It's all a big ego stroking contest from the internet. That's why all these companies book the same. Doesn't matter if it's TNA, AEW, MLP. It doesn't matter what company it is. They all book the same because it's the easiest thing to do. All you have to do is book long matches to fill up time. Throw in a couple commercial breaks, maybe a shitty Nickelodeon segment or two. You got a show. Nice and easy.
Like, how hard is it? Now, I'm not saying use AI for the entire thing, but like when I use AI to come up with like a script or something, what I do is I use it as like a starting point of like just to kind of like ignite the flame, and then you like take what it gives you, and then you modify it and modify it and modify it and add to it, take away from it, and then you use it as something that could be built into something good. Like, I just don't understand why they can't use like Grok or Gemini to like give like the bare bones structure of like a storyline for the righteous that you can then like use your human intelligence and go, okay, well, that doesn't make sense. That maybe we should do a little bit more of, and then just like modify. Like, I just don't understand why these bookers are doing it the old school fashion way, where you're putting in much more effort and you're just getting a shittier product.
Because they're getting pushback from the fans every time they try to do storyline shit because they won't do it correctly.
Right.
So they're getting a lot of these work rate, match-based fans that are saying, I don't want to see this goofy storyline shit. I don't want to see all these promos. I want to see more matches. TNA, show me some bangers. So TNA, they're like, dude, nice and easy. It's like, mom cooking up hot dogs. Nice and easy. Don't got to worry about making dinner. It's right there for you. Nice and easy.
It's fast food booking.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Do. Yeah, well, because it's nice and easy, and they're not going to get any complaints if they give the fans, the internet fans, what they want. Sure, you'll see a down tune in viewership. You'll see these dips, and then what they'll do every once in a while is they'll give them a casual, friendly show to save them from plunging into mediocrity and get people, I guess, their hopes up. And then they're like, let's get lazy again. Every time.
NC, what you just said, you're right. They know better. Tony Khan knows better. Hunter Johnson and Tommy Dreamer know better. Triple H knows better. They all know better. But you're right. They do this because it takes no fucking effort. That to me is the biggest problem. Is just they don't want to put the effort in. They don't want to bust their ass. Probably because like they're working every week, and so like it wears on you over time. It's like, all right, fuck it. To make it sustainable, just fucking just throw a bunch of matches out there. I'm sorry, but that ends up hurting you more in the long run. Like that can only work for a certain amount of time until it doesn't. And when it doesn't work, then you're fucked.
Why does WWE have a team of 40 writers?
Good point.
I've seen people that were able to do it with one or two. ECW, Russo, old school Vince McMahon. A lot of these old school booking teams were like maybe 3 people max. So there is no excuse in my opinion. I think they're lazy. I think they're stupid. I think they're uncreative, and I don't think that they deserve to have a job. I think a lot of people in all these creative companies are not creative. Why are you calling yourself a part of the creative team when you aren't creative? It doesn't make a sense, you know?
Because they're veteran wrestlers that have backstage politic their way into a comfortable position that they are confident they're never going to leave. The other thing too is like with the writing teams back in the past, they didn't have AI to help them. Like I'm pretty sure Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara had AI, had Grok or Gemini or Claude or any of these AI large language models to use. They would have used them. 1,000% they would have used them, and it probably would have helped. Like as good as they were, it probably would have just because when it produces a script, you as a human, you read through it and go, okay, well that doesn't make too much sense, or oh that looks pretty good, but I don't know about that. Like there's still that filtering process, right? So like the people have this misconception of AI. It's like you just take what AI gives you and just dump it into a script. No, there's a human filtering process that goes through it. There's no excuse. With AI, with these large language models, there's no excuse for this laziness that we're getting every week.
I think it might have to do with something like creative pride. I will say this much as a writer. As a writer, I don't use AI for writing. I'll use it for thumbnails. I'll use it for backgrounds. For writing, it's just if you've been doing it for so long and you have confidence in your ability to create a world out of scratch, it's something that I for an uncreative, like for WWE, for their creative team, sure, you know. For people that are having writer's block, sure, I think it's a great tool. But I think that's what you were pointing out. You know, back in the day, they didn't have to use AI because you had these creative people like Ed Ferrara, like Vince Russo, like Vince McMahon, like Bruce Pritchard back before he lost it. They were all working with each other, bouncing ideas off each other. And that's what it really comes down to. Like, have you ever seen like these writing rooms that ever worked back in the day that like really gave you some good shit? It's a bunch of I wouldn't say a bunch. It's like maybe 5 nerdy guys at max drinking coffees, drinking Mountain Dews, and just bouncing ideas off of each other and writing it down in a notepad. That's what me and my brother do all the time, dude. We'll just literally after a stream ends, we'll just bounce ideas off of each other and be like, let's take that. Let's how do you want to do that? How do you want to do that? And that's what we do. So that, to me, I think that's what's really missing more than anything. Because AI, it's a good point you brought up. But I think more than anything, what's really missing is those small, intimate creative meetings with just a few minds, because when you have too many chefs in the kitchen, you're gonna get a fucked up meal. If you have everybody on board and they're all like, okay, this is how we got to execute it, and you have a good filter like a Vince McMahon, for example, in his prime, you have a good filter like that to process it into good entertainment. Especially a ballsy man like Vince, you have to have a good ballsy filter. If you have a good ballsy filter, you're gonna have quality TV. I think it was really what Vince said. It was lightning in a bottle. It was all these things coming together at the right time period, especially when Jerry Springer was very popular. Cops, you know, all this Crash TV was very popular. It was all coming together at the right precipice to create magic. And I'm telling you, the magic is really in less people.
I mean, shit, look at JCW right now with Violent J and Vince Russo. It's pretty much just them two.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. I mean, I'm sure they get maybe a little bit of advice from some of the veterans back there, you know, but for the most part, nah, it's their show, man. And that's what I think really, it brings back the heart and the soul of a company when you have less people. Because then what you're doing is you're seeing the shared unified vision of a couple souls instead of a watered down vision of 40 to 50 souls. You know what I'm saying? You're seeing something that's more pure, more concentrated, in my opinion.
Well, it's like chemistry. It's like look at the writing teams of like Futurama back in the day, or like the writing team of The Simpsons back in the 90s, or the writing team of South Park. I mean, like it's a small group of people that are on the same page, that are all like thinking along the same lines, and they're all like contributing to the overall picture, to the overall thing. Whereas, like, you look at these people now, they're a bunch of clueless idiots, like Tommy Dreamer and Hunter Johnson, or Triple H and his creative team, and Tony Khan and his creative team. They're all a bunch of clueless idiots. Each wrestler on the roster is getting to chime in. They want to do their thing, and so it's a big clusterfuck. It's a big clusterfuck of a bunch of wrestlers that want to get TV time.
Yeah, it is. It's really a clusterfuck, and it's uncreative, and it's just like, I want a match, I want a match, I want a match, and nobody wants to do a quick 5 minute match. They all want to do 25 to 30 minute matches. But you know what makes the matches in TNA even worse than the fact that they're already long, badly paced, and have bad psychology?
What's that?
When you have a commentary team of
Oh
these
God.
two. Like, and that's
Oof.
the thing, like, Tom Hannafin, he's just a soundboard. He's just basically Timu Michael Cole at this point. And then you have Aiden English, who has the most annoying voice in the world. You know what's sad? I would rather hear Excalibur babble about Japanese wrestling than hear fucking Rusev Day, this Kermit
Oh
in a
God.
velvet suit, croon. Oh, look at that! What a maneuver! Like he doesn't know how grating he is.
It's ridiculous. And like you know what, like all these people, like the Hunter Johnson, Tommy Dreamer, these two goofballs on the screen right now, these are all Scott D'Amore people. These are all the people that Scott D'Amore brought into TNA. Tommy Dreamer, Hunter Johnson are the people that Scott D'Amore brought into TNA's creative team. Scott brought in these people. Like, and like this is Scott is a, from what we know about this guy, he is a full-blown indie-rific match mark. It doesn't matter what you look like as long as you can have a 5-star match in the ring. Well, that's only going to cater to a niche audience, and you're going to see teenage. And you saw what teenage ratings were with Scott D'Amore. Like what you're saying is so true, man, because it's like you look at these people, right? Just the way they sound, they add nothing. They add, like, there are so many people out there that are better commentators than these two goofballs. Yeah, because like one sounds like a drunk Kermit, the other one is a fucking soundboard and a kick out. Ooh, like that's what they are. They're useless.
Well, and that's what it all comes down to is TNA could cut about a good half of the roster and they would be good. I mean, shit. They had Matthews doing it by himself not too long ago. It was still better than these two.
Mhm.
Just bring back Matthews. Fuck it.
You don't need these two. Just bring back Matthews. If you want to bring in Barrow and Allo, go ahead and bring in Barrow and Allo. Have him be
Yeah.
the sole guy, because at least you're getting personality. And that's the one thing too, man. What happened to the personality at the commentary desk?
It faded away like every other personality nowadays. You listen to most of these commentary desks, and the color commentators are afraid to be color. So what color used to mean back in the day is that you added some color to the show, some variety. You know, you added a little bit of spice to the show. Now it's just supposedly heel commentator, but they don't say heel shit and they stick up for baby faces. It's like the Aiden English, he's supposed to be the heel commentator. He feels miserably at that. He's just an overgrown theater kid with a bad case of balding.
Well,
And Tom Hannafin, he's always been just that guy. He's just there, you know. I don't know what more. He's just Michael Cole, but on the cheap.
he's cheap Michael Cole. But like what you just said, like about, like, you know, like they're cheap knockoffs of like heels, but they don't even really commit to it. Compare these two to Jesse Ventura and Vince McMahon on commentary.
Oh, dude, night and day. Well, because and not only that, but back in the day, Vince McMahon, he had this ability to pick people for his commentary team that had immediate chemistry with him. Like
Oh,
if you heard Vince and Jesse, you heard Vince and Macho, Vince and Bobby, even Vince and Sonny, he had immediate chemistry with people that he worked with, and he knew how to play off of his wrestlers to get the best out of them, even at the commentary table. So you just don't get that anymore. You don't get that chemistry anymore. And even the commentators, man, you can see the depression on their faces. Like that's the one thing I saw on Dynamite is Taz looks so fucking depressed. Even with the sunglasses on, you could tell this guy's depressed. He didn't want to be there.
well, I don't blame him, because like, what is he really getting to control? We're talking about Taz and like Taz was fucking great on commentary. Tony Schiavone is legendary, great on commentary. But look what they're commentating on.
I mean, even Jim Ross lately was saying, I'd
Yeah.
love to work on TV, you know, because they won't bring him back. Tony's getting real serious about that. Anybody who's talking too much guff, you know, talking too much smack, giving him too much guff, he's like, hey, you can sit out, man. You don't have to be here. You know, if you don't like it here, you can go ahead and sit at home. That's what he's doing. I respect him for doing that, but at the same time, he needs to stop being a match mark because what he's doing, it's the equivalent of keeping the fans happy until it drops too low and he has to do some crash TV again. WWE does the same thing. TNA, they're kind of showing a pattern like that too. Maybe they might just continue to sink. I don't know. But the key thing that all these companies have in track, whether it be, you know, the SmackDown brand, NXT, AEW, TNA, what they all have in common is barely any storylines, match mark bullshit, long matches, bad psychology, lack of star power, and really nothing to tune into. Like, you can miss most of these shows and be like, I missed nothing. That was the one thing that I noticed about us covering TNA and AEW recently. I felt like I hadn't missed any months. I felt like it literally like was the next week after that last shit show that we watched. Nothing has really changed, man. And that goes for both TNA and Dynamite. I'm sure it's even worse on NXT. I won't even try to attempt to watch NXT with how fucking awful the star power is. Well, that's a lost cause right there.
Well, no, it's a total lost cause, and I think the reason why we're just not interested is it does not appeal to us. But then also, there's no storylines to get invested in. Like, there's nothing hooking you week to week other than, oh, they're gonna have a number one contenders battle royal match out of nowhere because we couldn't come up with the storyline. I don't know. Like, and that's the problem. It's like they're not giving you anything that's going to hook you if you're not a match mark. And so when the ratings drop down to like 100,000, maybe even less than 100,000, I'm not going to be surprised. I'm not going to be surprised at all, because like they're catering to a niche audience, and this is what happens when you market your show to a niche audience. Is it you will get the audience that you appeal to. Period.
If there's too many wrestlers, if that's the big situation here, you need to end the brand split and start cutting like a motherfucker. You need to cut the crap out of the roster. You have to cut the crap out of the writing team. Start cutting the crap out of staff that you don't need. WWE could be cut in half easily. And that would probably make the creative team job a lot easier, because then they could get to individually know these wrestlers. And I don't get that out of the modern product. I don't think that they're doing what Russo would do. Or any of the top bookers back in the day. I don't think that they're sitting down with these wrestlers and really taking the time to get to know them. I think it's just they have a random list of matches being booked, and they're supposed to fill in the segments with shittily written promos in the meantime. That's all it really comes down to. Is like, it feels like they're given a really shitty skeleton and, okay, writer number A, I want you to write a shitty Joe Henry and Street Profits promo that goes nowhere. And then, commercial break. All right, writer number B, I want you to write Roman Reigns coming in an SUV and walking in and looking cool. And then goes to the match. It's like, it's so frustrating to me that a lot of the shit that they're doing, it's so simple and they can't even do it right. It's like, can't even put the fucking the circle peg into the circle hole. It's that fucking hard for them.
Honestly, I don't even think they know how.
Then hire people that do. That's the frustrating thing, man, is I'm sure you have people back there that know how to properly book a show, which is frustrating too, because you see Triple H, he's been through the Attitude Era. You know that he knows better. You see Paul Heyman, the guy who made the ECW revolution. You know that he knows better. Michael P.S. Hayes, one of the biggest fucking cokeheads and partiers back in the days, loves hood rats. You know that he knows better.
Oh, yeah.
Bruce Pritchard, the king of goofball. You know that he knows better. I say to all of these motherfuckers back there, even Tommy Dreamer, you know better, bro. Tony Khan, you know better. Shawn Michaels, you know better.
That's the frustrating thing too. That's the frustrating is that we know for a fact they know better, because like what you said, every once in a while they'll give you these car crash TV shows where it's got like everything that we're wanting, and when they do it bumps the rating up significant, and you see an immediate spike in viewership. So they know what works. It's just what I think it is they don't want to put the effort in every week. Maybe it's too much effort to put in for that one show. It's like, fuck it, we'll just mail it in the rest of the way. It's random, and that's really what like I've been watching the past 2 episodes of Dynamite. It's literally nothing but matches. Same with TNA.
It's just to me, I look at it like, you know what? With Tony, I know a lot of it he does by himself and with another person. That's at least what he was saying on Russo's podcast. Sure. If that's true, and it's just 2 people doing it, that's a lot of work that he's doing by himself, pretty much, and it's spreading him thin. And it's becoming just pretty much what he's trying to make it, and he's trying to make AEW into a sport. And that's why he does so many matches back to back, is to show off the athleticism of his wrestlers and show that they're just as athletic as football players, basketball players, whatever. The whole fact of the matter is though that will never resonate with the sports crowd, as you see with the ESPN Sports Center Danhausen experiment and all these WWE wrestlers coming on. They are never going to get to the point in 2027 or 2028 where they're like, yeah, wrestling's fucking cool, man. Yeah, wrestling's awesome. No, it's going to get geekier and geekier in public perception, especially when you have UFC as big as it is. Like, that's the one thing that WWE had going good for it back in the day is, first off, they separated themselves away from being a sport, which they were running that shit with NWA back in the day and early WWF. They separated it, after Golden Age. They separated it from being a sport. And they had this own goofball niche. And that was perfect, too, because UFC was this underground cockfighting. They had something to get the people's attention. And that's what I love about wrestling. Everybody back then in the 90s knew it was fake, but they did not fucking care because the star power was off the charts. The storylines were constant, man. We'll do these live reviews. We'll get another one for you real soon of a Raw or a SmackDown back in the day, and like, let's say 1998, real golden period back then. You could go and tune into a Nitro, more specifically a Raw, back in the day in 1998. And with Raw specifically, you got so many storylines jam-packed in there in under 2 hours. Just all these storylines, all these reasons to care. They try to do something for everybody on the show. Small matches, so they're quick and digestible, but you can remember them. That's the problem. That is, like, I don't know about you, but the longer the match goes, the more I space out, the more I fucking don't care. So it's like they got that. They got that if people don't have good attention spans, even back in the 90s, they're like, people don't have good attention spans. Maybe we should give them shorter matches. And it fucking worked, dude. It was a great strategy. That's why we got fucking 5.5 million, 6 million. That's why we got the numbers that we did back in the day. That's why it at one time beat Monday Night Football. Because it had the star power, the storylines, and it wasn't afraid to break into the mainstream culture. It wasn't afraid to be offensive. Everything nowadays, they're so afraid to do ice. They're so afraid to do DI. They're so afraid to do anything slightly controversial or remotely controversial. It's just a really bad live-action Nickelodeon stage show at this point. It's really bad.
It really is. And like the other thing, like, that when I think back to like wrestling shows of the past, shit, even 10 years ago, man, even TNA back in like 2010, 2013, even 2016, the rules mattered in matches. Like what you see now is just oftentimes is the rules. Like look at the Elimination Chamber match. Like Randy Orton wins the match, yet Cody Rhodes is given a world title match out of nowhere. The rules don't matter. So if the rules don't matter, the matches don't matter. And if the matches don't matter, what the fuck are you tuning in for? You know?
Right, and that's why, like, we more than anything will point out what is working with wrestling and what is not. These Matchmark fans, they're just going to keep on groveling for their matches. They will never do anything to benefit these companies that gladly serve them. They are locusts on pro wrestling. What they do is they just eat it apart, completely dissect it and desecrate it to the point that it's worth less than what it is. And that's what we're seeing nowadays, is we're seeing this hollowed out husk of what pro wrestling used to be, because these locust shithead fans have taken over and influenced the bookers to book nice and easy matches that, that way they get to kick back and fucking just smoke bowls and drink coffee and not fucking do any work. Just it's all happy, fun friends hour over at the creative team. You don't have to work. Fuck
There's
it.
no pressure.
We just plugged it into we just plugged it into Grok. Yeah, gave us all the results. Yeah, good.
Because there's no pressure, because a lot of what it is because they politic, these veteran wrestlers have politic their way into these spots. They're there, man, and they protect each other's spots. Like Tommy Dreamer will go to bat for Hunter Johnson and vice versa. They've got each other's backs. They'll protect each other. And that I think is another major detriment, is that you're not getting the best and the brightest. You're getting a bunch of veteran wrestlers that have conned these corporate types by saying, well, we know wrestling, we're veteran pro wrestlers, we've been in the business for 20, 30 years, therefore we know what we're talking about, we're wrestling people. Well, like, if you're, for TNA, like, if you're going to have a wrestling person run that company, you want somebody who's been in the business, achieved a lot, knows what it's like to get over, but is also creative. You know who I'd pick?
Who's that?
Matt Hardy.
That's not a bad idea, but the whole thing is that the whole entire structure of TNA needs to change. Because, like, that's the thing with NXT and the main roster. I think that a benefit could be made to the main roster if they brought up, like, Undertaker, Jeremy Borash, Shawn Michaels, and had them work a different style than what they're used to. I think that you could have good change. And maybe with Matt Hardy joining creative, he's a very creative guy, I think that could be a good change for TNA. But the question is, would they allow him to do that? Because what we saw in that last promo from TNA, they had Matt Hardy and Jeff at some Amazon Prime warehouse. Not even, like, he was lazily doing the gimmick. I was like, why aren't we at the Hardy compound? I was like, who asked for this shit? So that's my whole thing. Is like, if they let these wrestlers, these veterans, actually go in with free reins and they don't try to limit their creativity, there could be some magic. I think that's a big reason why, it's not my cup of tea, but why at least Undertaker is able to work with a shorter show in AAA is because it's less time and he's able to work with characters. And
Sure.
as you can see with Undertaker, he's actually making AAA notable at this point. People are talking about AAA. They haven't done this in the longest time. A lot of it
Right.
has to do with the WWE buyout, but you got to also give Undertaker credit for his booking.
No, for sure. Give him credit for his booking, but like as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, you know what? If the problem is that like these wrestlers that are getting in there, there's no pressure. Then honestly, as I'm thinking about it, the best thing to do would probably be to like get like a fan that just so happens to be a writer that is thinking along the lines of like what a casual fan would find appealing because they've got a lot to prove. Like because like if they've got a lot to prove, they're gonna bust their fucking ass in that creative team. If there's some like 30-plus-year-old veteran wrestler, like some like wrestler who's been in the business forever, like an Al Snow who's been in the business for 30 years, is not creative but they're really good at politicking. Well, they're not gonna bust their ass because they're gonna be saying, "How dare you? I'm a veteran wrestler." Like they're gonna be able to rest on that. Whereas like some fan with the writing degree that is passionate about it, like they're gonna have to try and bust their ass. And I think ultimately the problem is just the filter in wrestling are all these lazy asshole veteran wrestlers like Shawn Michaels and Triple H and Tommy Dreamer and Hunter Johnson, all of them. Like that's to me, I think it's just the people at the top don't care, so there's no pressure. You know?
Oh no, it's a large majority of it is there's no competition, so there's no pressure. But then you have this infrastructure, that you have to abide by. It pisses me off because TNA and AEW, they don't have to abide by that corporate infrastructure, yet they have such PG shitty kitty shows. It just frustrates the fuck out of me, especially with AEW. You're your own private company. You could do your own thing. You can go full blood and goats, full boobs, go like show a very not an offensive program, but you can show an edgy program for the fans. They show you bits and pieces. They'll never go full on
No.
because they don't want to drive away their core viewership. And their core viewership are lazy, low IQ match marks that just want to see repetitive bullshit. That's what they're too afraid to drive away. And what you were saying about a fan coming in, you're absolutely right. That would benefit wrestling. Look at what happened with Russo back in the day, being a WWE writer, coming in and writing for the WWE magazine, and then
Well,
he's the top writer in the business right
and
there.
people may not know this, but like Ed Ferrara before he was a TV or while he was a TV writer for like Honey I Shrunk the Kids and like all these like TV shows and movies, he was a huge ECW fan like before he joined WWF's creative team. So like that's the thing is like this is an example, like those two right there are examples of wrestling fans that were given the chance to show what they got and they created the Attitude Era. I'm sorry, like Vince McMahon did not create that on his own. If he still had Cornette and Pritchard there, you still would have had the goof shit that you were getting in 95 and 96.
Yeah, and that's one thing that we've always seen. When Bruce and Vince are together, you're gonna get goofball bullshit.
Yeah.
And with Cornette, you would just get a bunch of fat, sloppy wrestlers mixed in with that were supposed to take seriously. And then he would just rant on his podcast, the GOAT, the serious wrestler, he needs to be taken seriously. No, I'm sorry. I don't care if he's this talented indie wrestler that had to wear a gimmick. There's a reason he had to wear a gimmick, because he didn't fucking have a gimmick coming in.
Right. Right. And that's the thing, man. It's like this is an example of like these like wrestling minds that are stuck in the bubble that don't know anything else. They're just going to recommend what they already know. They're not bringing anything like these veteran wrestlers. They're not bringing anything new to the table for the most part. Like if you're gonna have a veteran wrestler at the top there, they have to be open. Like I feel like Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy, I feel like they're open minded. They're not like they're gonna listen to like some writers that they'd be like, oh, you know what, that's actually a pretty good idea. I don't think they're gonna be closed minded about it and do what these fucking matchmark assholes are doing. You know?
I would love it if they had the chance, but I just don't think they have a whole lot of power and say around there. I think that they maybe have a decent push, and that's what they're just pretty much grasping onto. If they can get themselves into a position where TNA management, Carl Silva, listens to them, I think that would be very beneficial, especially with Matt. He's a great mind. But yeah, just that's our problem with TNA, NXT, SmackDown. It's sad to say Raw's one of the few watchable programs, and that's the reason I didn't include it on this list, is because at least with Raw, you can see that it's not a huge viewership drop-off. And what Raw is doing is they're trying to push marketable people. I tune into Raw, and at least I see guys that look larger than life, like Roman Reigns, like Obafemi, like Logan Paul, like Braun Breaker. I see more stars and more star potential on Raw than I do on SmackDown. Now, don't get me wrong, they got like Trick Williams over on SmackDown. They got some talent over there, you know. Don't get me wrong,
Sure.
Tiffany Stratton, they got talent over there. But Raw is, I think, right now they're putting all their eggs in that basket, and it's showing. It's not a great show by any means, but when you look at the grand scope of things, it's the most watchable wrestling show on TV. And I hate saying that, but it's true.
But also with Raw, I mean, like, look at the matches too. Like, how many like 20+ minute matches are you seeing on Raw nowadays?
They're cutting back. They're cutting back, and that's a good thing, man. Is they finally realized, hey, we only have 2.5 hours. We got to make the most out of it.
You do.
Stop being lazy, man. Use it to continue storylines. The thing is like we've always said, the TV show needs to be the vehicle to get you invested in paying for the pay-per-view or even watching the pay-per-view. Even if you're paying with your time, with your energy nowadays, that's valuable to WWE. They need to invest you, and that's how you do it with the TV shows, is you build your storylines, you build them up to the pay-per-view, and that way people want to watch the pay-per-view. That way people want to watch Saturday Night Main Event and see the big payoff. Even with NXT, I don't care about any of these NXT pay-per-views because they don't differ at all from the regular show. They're just longer.
But also notice too, and you were bringing it up, but also notice is that like and you see it with Raw and SmackDown, they're cutting back on the match length on these shows. And
Good.
notice that the match marks are complaining more about Raw and SmackDown than they ever have before. They'll say, "Oh, this is goofy. Oh, well, where are the storylines?" But look at the match length. When you know what I say, fuck them. It's like, but yeah, when you know what these match marks like, that they love the work rate. They want these matches to literally go on for 2 fucking hours if it could. Notice as WWE's cutting back on the match length, they're complaining more and more about the shows because and that just shows WWE, Triple H, Bruce Pritchard, they know. They know everything that we're saying here, they're well aware of.
Yeah, that's what I'm sure that they'd probably say preacher to the choir, but at the same time, they won't do anything to stop it because they just want to collect a fat paycheck and be liked at the end of the day. That's what it's all about. I mean, they're not actually invested in their own show. I highly doubt that, like, Triple H is marking out in the back like, whoa, to every single match. He's seen this shit a billion times. He's just rolling through the motions, trying to get through his fucking day. Probably taking a look at dirty pictures of Sami Zayn on his phone. I mean, it's like he's bored, dude. And it's been proven too. These guys will be at gorilla position and they'll be scrolling on their phones, checking out X, checking out Instagram while they're supposed to be doing their job. Why? So they can see what the fans are saying on the internet. What I would say to them is the fans on the internet do not fucking matter. You do not need the opinion of somebody like JD from New York. You do not need the opinion of somebody like Air. You don't need the opinion of iBeast or iPoo. You don't need the opinion of any of these fucking low IQ match marks because they don't matter. At the end of the day, they will never say anything to help you make your show better. They will only tell you, put on more matches and make it more for me so less people can tune in. And you will do it because you guys are fucking simps.
Well, and these people, these fans don't even realize that what they're doing is hurting the company that they love more than anything.
They're selfish.
Because they're selfish, and they'll say, "But I like it." Well, that's great, buddy. I'm glad that you liked it. The problem with it is that it's killing the company that you love. It's killing and quite frankly, I do love TNA. There's a part of TNA of me that loves TNA, but I hate seeing what they've become. I hate how lazy they are, and I hate that they're totally fine catering to this match mark audience.
At the end of the day, you got to look at it. It's never changed. Marketability in wrestling matters. It's the most important thing. And all these companies, just about, they don't want to be marketable. They want to be lazy. They want to give you slop. Well, we're going to let you know what you're messing up on, and you guys are messing up on quite a bit. So that has been our special on this. NC.
JC End.
Peace out.